Yeah, I can see you're
going.
Yeah, you're doing good. You got the new machine there working, I see, which is nice.
Just logging in now. Yeah, check it out. I got Vista. You feeling the wow?
Yeah. It's one of 4 copies installed that we are aware of.
I got one.
It's 6.
Hey, you know, I have to say while I'm logging in here, that last time I went through a hardware request, it took weeks, lots of approvals. This thing took, what, 30 seconds?
Yeah.
You got the best admin in the world.
She's
right
very good.
behind me there.
Yeah, right behind you there.
All right, so I'm going to log in here, and I'm going to check to see if I have all the tools I need to get this project done. I've got a massive project due, just a couple hours.
And that doesn't have anything to do with the NCAA tournament, which finished last night.
No, absolutely.
Okay, all right.
We'll get back. We'll get to that later. So I'm going to go in and see if I've got all the Office tools. Looks like they're all there. The only thing I'm missing is project. So I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go up to the streaming portal. And I'm going to click that. This should bring up a list of applications I have access to.
Yeah, there it
What I'm
comes.
looking for again is project.
So you couldn't find a project on your machine, you're going to go out to the portal. And this is different than software portal, this is the streaming portal.
That's correct. Yep, so there's projects. I'm going to open that up. And there's project. I'm going to grab that. Hopefully I'll have something real soon here so I can get onto my project.
All right. Click away. And down starts to come Microsoft Project. What's happening behind the scenes here?
So what's happening behind the scenes is we're requesting the application from the streaming server. The server's checked to make sure there's licensing provision, that everything's ready to go. And the important thing here from an end user perspective is that he's going to see the application there as if it's installed on the machine. He's going to be able to use it. It's going to function exactly as if it's a regular application, rather than having to use weird ways to make it interact with other applications.
Interesting. So this is coming down into a layer. It's coming down really just in time. It's coming down in these blocks in 4K or so, right?
Exactly.
And they're essentially laying these stubs of files down that allows you to, for the end user, for a guy like Rick, just to be able to access it, as you can see right here. But in reality, it's just being streamed down from a server just in time when he needs it.
Yep, on-demand provisioning, as you can see, even the fact that Rick is using it is proof that this is very sensible.
Yeah, solid enough for a power user like me. And it looks like I've got projects, so I'm all set to go here.
Any idea how to use Project, Rick, just out of curiosity?
Oh, absolutely.
All right,
Let's see what I could do.
And let's see what's happening on the administrator side of the house. In fact, I want to ask a little bit about how this complements or how it competes with our traditional deployment technology that we have in-house, Ghost and deployment solution like that. So let's go take a look at our IT administrator. Here comes Christine and Ugo Parra. Welcome to the stage. Nice to have you here. Yeah,
Right.
That's a sweet. That's why we weren't able to get a band this year. So we paid for that whole thing right there. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So Christine, tell us what's happening on the backside there with regards to deploying these solutions.
Absolutely. So I think the first thing let's cover is talk about how quickly we were able to get Rick's laptop imaged up and running. So if we look here, this is actually the Semantic Ghost console. This is what I used to actually image that. And I think one of the first cool things about this is we have a task here that says create a Vista business image. Now the way that we did this is use an option here at the bottom. It says clone using something we call hot imaging, which means I can keep the system up and running, get it patched, have the latest applications, everything done, and go ahead and take that image without ever having to power it down. Now to deploy that image, one of the other issues that we often have is managing all the drivers and other elements. So we have a cool feature that I use called Deploy Anywhere. And if I go in and look at Deploy Anywhere, you can see that I have a list of all of these drivers that are sitting there that I can have for all the hardware in my environment. And we go ahead and image that. Well, it'll dynamically choose the drivers that it needs to go ahead and get that system up and running. Now, if we then kind of go and let's get out of here and take a look at how we got the application down as quickly as possible from a streaming perspective. Let's go ahead and open up the streaming console. We can log in here. Now, in the streaming console, I think the first thing is let's take a look at the users that we have here in the environment. We can go ahead and take a look at some users. And it'll show a list of who we have. And
Bill Gates is on there. It's nice.
Yeah, Rick is as well. Mickey Mouse. I thought that was a good one. Well, you'll see that Rick here is a part of marketing, so you can actually define actual groups, available groups, and then what provision software they have available. So we can see here that we've got typical applications that Rick might need in his job. We've got Acrobat Reader. You obviously see Project here, Photoshop, Office. Now let's go down and we can actually go ahead and click on Visio 2003. Now this is how we were able to get Rick his application as quickly as possible. Now I think the important thing here, let's note, is that this doesn't mean that it's actually provisioned, it just means it's able for him to actually get it streamed. So I'm not actually consuming a license at this point in time. Now if we go to here, let's just go ahead and take a look at Outlook really fast and look at the inbox here, and we'll see that we have a workflow initiated email. And that actually says that by using that last Microsoft project license, we're kind of now exceeded the number of licenses. So I have two options as part of the workflow. I can order new software, or I can update the software portal. Now in this case, we've already purchased an additional 10 licenses. So let's go back into the software portal, and we can account for that updated license to make sure that if anyone new now wants to get some streamed applications, that's available. So if we go in here, you can see this lovely little tab here, Manage Licenses. Now in the Manage License, it's going to show me the maximum available licenses that I have inputted in the system, how many I've consumed, meaning how many are out there. But the other thing that's really neat here is you look at that time limit. Basically what we can do is define a length that a package can exist on a particular system, and we can remove it after 30 days. And this is a great way for us to be able to reclaim licenses and reuse them, as opposed to simply purchasing additional licenses over and over. So let's kind of test this out really fast, and I can just go into Office and see what would happen. So project, let's click on that. Now we've already used them up. So what's going to happen here is you'll see that I don't have enough licenses to start. So that's how we can obviously make sure that we're not exceeding those number of licenses and validating what we have. But now if I go back in here and edit, I can go in and edit here. So again, as I said, we purchased those extra licenses. And we can just make sure here that we've got the right number and save. Okay, so now that says 15. Now let's go back and see, there you go. See what happens when we try and launch a project again.
I have a feeling it's going to work.
Yeah, probably. That's how these things happen.
Let's ruin the suspense.
And voila, there we go. We're going ahead and streaming it down to my system here.
Yeah,
it's that easy.
Yeah, so really you're able to deploy these in a standard way as well as through a streaming way. And again, and that's, I kind of feel that's the future, right? In some cases, depending on the device and when they need it, it may come down and stream, and some of it may be traditionally deployed through the technologies that you manage. I want to ask you about that. Our emphasis on streaming and virtualization doesn't mean that we're not investing in the traditional deployment technologies. What are we doing on that side?
These technologies are complementary, right? That we're lucky enough now, since we're part of the broader Symantec, to have a very rich portfolio in imaging and deployment technology and everything else, and everything is coming together. You saw the demo here that Christy just showed us. A click of a button, you can take a hot image of a live system, and then the same way, you could go and deploy that image onto a live system without ever having to reboot that machine.
And in some cases, to a different type of machine as well, right? You can use the hardware-independent imaging to inject the drivers depending on the hardware that you're trying.
That's exactly right. Now we have smart enough technology that can make that differentiation, repurpose an image to any variety of hardware systems, and be able to make all the decisions, figure out all the complexities, and to remove that so that this user can just have a very, very seamless experience.
What's going on with Ghost? We've had that in our portfolio now since for about a year, and how well is that being integrated into the broader story that we tell?
We're moving very, very fast towards having that integrated with our deployment solution. Deployment solution brings best of class deployment. We're adding to that best of class imaging with Ghost, and then we're adding to that as well as best of class management by our integration with our Test platform.
Right, so we've got Ghost in the mix, which we've always watched from afar. Thought what fantastic technology. Now part of the broader portfolio, we have the provisioning manager technology. We really have, I feel, from including the streaming side, a very nice collection of deployment technology.
Very exciting.
So let's just recap the value propositions that both streaming and deployment give to us. So Doug, why don't you talk about why people ought to be streaming applications?
So the important thing to remember about streaming, there are three real main things to remember. One is, from a provisioning perspective, that you can have instant provisioning. It's not even with our WAN technology or WAN optimization, not just a LAN solution, it's a WAN solution as well. Right. From a licensing perspective, you optimize licenses two ways. One is that you only consume a license when the user clicks on the icon, not when you put the bits on the machine. And secondly, we can re-provision licenses as they're not used. And then finally, the fact that you have SVS and the SVS Pro mix means you don't have to worry about all of those issues around application compatibility. In some cases, you know, even the OS compatibilities that are happening with some of the newer operating systems can be overcome. So, you know, three really important complementary pieces to the two technologies.
Right. So you are including the streaming of this application into a virtual file, into an SVS layer essentially, and the same problems that you would have normally with application compatibility go away because of that work.
Absolutely.
Fantastic stuff. You guys are going to do a bunch of sessions, I know. Streaming is a hot topic. Certainly, I bet you the majority of the people in the audience are deployment customers and are interested in that technology. Thank you guys both for joining us. Doug Coombs and Ugo Potter, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.